G'day, it's Pete here, and I'm back to bring you all the action from day 4 of the World Championships. To kick things off, we've got an interesting match between New Zealand and South Africa. So let's jump in and take a look. Now, the first thing I wanted to bring up here was there's often a saying of you always trust your partner in bridge. But sort of at the higher levels, I think there's another saying, which is trust vulnerable opponents. And here's an interesting application of it. So here it went pass, 1 heart, and North with 9 spades just gets in there and bids 4 spades. And this East hand's pretty good. They're a maximum passed hand. They've got 10 points, decent hand, and they just decided to pass. At the other table, they put in a double, which is a good hand, perfectly reasonable bid. But the question here is, in this auction, who do you trust? Do you trust the 4 spade bidder, or do you trust your partner who is not vulnerable against vulnerable and in third seat? Now, lots of these players at the higher level can open a little bit lighter in third seat and don't need as good of a hand. So when it goes pass, 1 heart from partner in third seat, and then a 4 spade bid vulnerable against not, they think, well, you know, they might not make 4 spades, but they have their bid. We're not going to get very rich off this. So here, one table decided to double, and 4 spades makes with 9 spades and the ace of diamonds. And at the other table, they passed. So that was 5 handy imps to New Zealand. But just an interesting sort of philosophy. Is it always trust your partner, or do you sometimes trust your vulnerable opponents? Because if they're vulnerable, they're not really going to be lying to you too much. Whereas if they're not vulnerable, you know, anything's fair game. The next board is all about who gets to play the contract and finding the right lead. So both North-Souths got to 4 spades. Here it went a club, a heart, double, pass 2 no, 4 spades. At the other table, they opened 1 no trump. South does have 16 points and a 6-card club suit. So here's a semi-balanced 1 no trump, which I'd mentioned in one of my previous recaps, that often a 6-card suit gets put in there. And here it went double, 3 hearts, transfer to spades, and they got to 4 spades by South. And here at this one, it went 1 club, and they chose to rebid 2 no trumps, showing 18, 19. They valued this hand higher. And then North-South managed to get to 4 spades, but from North. So a couple of interesting things here. Firstly is this 1 heart overcall. They've only got 4, but it's a really good overcall. So when you overcall, you're showing 5. When should you ever do it with 4? So if you're ever going to consider doing it with 4, you want a really good suit because you want to help partner out with the lead, and you want the quality of your suit to sort of compensate for having 1 shorter. You also want good high card points outside of it, and no appropriate overcall. Like, they've got 5 clubs. They've got 15 points. They don't want to overcall a no trump because of their singleton spade. So 1 heart seems like a good compromise here. And here it helps partner find the heart lead through the doubleton king. And North-South are going to get 2 hearts. They're going to get a diamond. And you could guess the spades, but there's really no reason to play East for 3 spades to the queen. So 4 spades goes down here. At the other table, when South gets to play it, they can't lead a heart here, so they just lead a diamond. Here they win. They trump and just play another diamond. And still West can't play hearts. And the Jack of Diamonds is set up to discard a heart. And now there's only 1 heart loser. So even though they misguess spades, they'll still be okay there. So game swing back to South Africa there. The next board that I want to talk about is sort of a conjunction of 2. And again, it's just talking about vulnerability and the philosophy of how aggressive to be. Now, in imp scoring, you get a huge bonus if you can bid a vulnerable game. So here, North-South pushed really hard to get to a 3 no trump contract. There's just a flat 8 count opposite a strong no trump, whereas the other table just subsided in 1 no trump. Now here, 3 no trumps just went down 2. Wasn't a particularly great contract. and one no trump made. So South Africa got the swing here, but on the next board, the same philosophy, you can see how it pays off. So here, east-west are vulnerable here, and it just went one club, one heart overcall, 3 diamonds. West bid 3 hearts. East really doesn't have much more, but being vulnerable, they pushed on to 4 hearts. And at the other table, they chose a double, and then when their partner bid 3 spades, they subsided there. So here, 4 hearts made this time, and they picked up 10 imps because East-West didn't bid game at this table. But on the previous board, they lost 7 imps because they went 2 down. But imagine that these are both 50-50 decisions and you keep doing it over and over again. You pick up 3 imps after doing this a lot. So they pushed really hard for vulnerable games here. One worked, one didn't, but New Zealand netted 3 imps over the 2 boards. So here's the full scorecard. So New Zealand won by 13 imps. Lots of swings about here. But I thought this match was really interesting about the approach of dealing with when people are vulnerable, what you're trying to do. So let's look at all the results here. So for round number 11, Netherlands had a huge win over Argentina. USA 2, big win. Bulgaria also had a big win here. And Australia had a good win over Singapore. And one of the easier to miss ones, but I think really important matches here was USA 1 versus Italy. Both of these teams are around the 8th place mark. And at this stage of the event, trying to get into 8th, it's a bit of a race. And here with your matches against the other players that are really close are extremely important. So USA 1 getting a solid win over Italy was a fantastic result for them there. So when looking at the results, you want to keep an eye out for these close matches between the teams in sort of 7th through sort of 12th, because they're all sort of in the hunt, trying to get up there, and any good win to one side or the other could really make the difference in making the top 8. Anyway, let's move on to round number 12. So on to round 12, we have a match of 3rd versus 4th. We've got USA 2 versus England. And here we've got a few boards where the real question is your suit going to run? So on this first hand, North opens a heart and East with their 7-card club suit bids 3 clubs. South supports hearts. And here is West. What you could envisage is imagine partner has a hand like King, Queen to 7 clubs. Well, if that's the case, you might win your Ace of Spades, your Ace of Hearts, and 7 club tricks for 3 no trumps. But if partner doesn't have the King of Clubs, well, then things don't go so crash hot. You probably don't even need the Queen of Clubs. It's just the King that's really, really important here. And unfortunately, North has it. So here it went a heart, 3 clubs, 3 hearts, 3 no trumps, and North doubled because they've got a good hand. And that went all pass. But importantly, they've got this King of Clubs, which means that the club suit's not necessarily running. Now, if East had the Ace of Clubs, sure, it would be running. But when there's lots of points here in the pack, most of the time it's the West player that thinks that the suit's running. And that's because they have some honors to help flesh it out. But if they just had the Queen of Clubs, they wouldn't be sure that the suit would run or not. So I actually think, given the 3 no trump bid, the ace is likely to be located in the West hand. And here the play went heart lead, and they tried the Ace of Clubs. And then after they won the King, they kept going with hearts, and South didn't unblock the Jack here. They really wanted to get in just to help clarify to partner. And then they played a low diamond just so partner knew that their diamonds were good. And then after cashing the hearts, the diamonds, then East-West got the final tricks there. But a devastating start for England here, just making 4 tricks and going for 1100. But I think it was a reasonable gamble at 3 no trumps here, hoping partner had the King of Clubs, but it didn't pan out. Moving on to the next board, here, very similar theme. So here it went pass, and vulnerable against not, South chose 3 diamonds, And you got these 3 aces. If partner's got the king of diamonds, then you've got your 2 aces and 7 diamond tricks, and you can make 9 tricks. At the other table, they chose a 2 diamond bid. 2 no trumps was likely an inquiry, and South probably said my diamond suit's not great. I'm not totally sure of their meaning here. And then North was worried about running 9 tricks, but also there was the chance that maybe partner only had 6 diamonds, so they might be able to say 2 aces and 6 diamond tricks. So here, the preempt of 3 diamonds this time got North-South to be bidding 3 no trumps, all on the back of, is the suit running or not? So there's been a swing each way here because of that. Moving on to the next board, this one was about slam bidding, but also just helping your partner out on the lead. So here, North-South bid all the way to 6 spades, and the most important bid in this auction is this double right here. And this is just a lead directing double saying, hey partner, I would really like you to lead a heart. A heart would be good for me. So here it went a spade, 2 no trumps, which looks like it was Jacoby showing 4 spades and a game forcing strength hand. South bid 3 clubs, which likely highlighted a club shortage. 3 spades is like they're already in a game forcing auction, so 3 spades is still encouraging. And then 4 clubs and 4 hearts here. Then they doubled. The opponents aren't intending to play in 4 hearts. So the double here just says, partner, please lead a heart against spades. They redoubled. Redouble here usually just shows first round control in an auction, so highlights that they have the ace. And they went on and bid slam. And as you can see here, if they lead anything but a heart, then 6 spades can make. But after a heart lead, they're going to be losing the ace of clubs, and the heart finesse fails, and they're down 1. At the other table, here, 1 spade, 2 no. Again, they kept investigating slam, but then stopped just in 4 spades. And there was no lead directing double here, so West has a pretty routine lead of just leading the jack of diamonds. Now this gives North-South the opportunity to make 12 tricks. They still have to guess well on the hand. They only made 11. They played a spade and they kept going, and then they tried a club towards the king, seeing if West would duck. But the ace was here, and it says 11 tricks were claimed. They can still make 12 tricks if they choose a roughing club finesse. But my suspicion is the rest of the play was they probably would have tried a club, so they probably would have trumped a diamond and led a club. I doubt East would have covered, and then they would have played a heart towards the queen. Occasionally, you'll see these spots where it just says 11 tricks claimed, when the play most likely didn't actually stop there. But sometimes the play goes really fast in the later part of the hand, and the person watching it doesn't always keep up. So here, I suspect that the play continued, and they got a heart finesse. So in short, sometimes you'll see just this was claimed, and you might be like, how would they do that? Often that's just because when the people are playing, there's points where the game proceeds at a sort of usual pace, and then the pace really ramps up, and it's really hard for the player to watch to keep track. So that often can happen there. So that was the USA versus England. USA won handily, 47-24. So big result for USA there. And the few boards sort of, is the suit running or not? So they picked up 14 for the suit the time it didn't run, and England got 10 back, and there were a bunch of swings throughout. Here are the results from the entire round. Importantly here, Egypt had a very solid win over England. Egypt had a very solid win over India. Also, UAE, the United Arab Emirates, this is their first win of the tournament. They've been having a rough trot of it, but they managed to beat South Africa. So well done to them. Switzerland had a huge win over Uruguay. China, Hong Kong had a great win. Australia had a great win. And the Netherlands also had a very important win over Denmark, another high-ranking team over there. So they're the really important results from round number 12. Let's now take a look at round 13. Now, from round 13, I've got an interesting match from Switzerland versus Israel. And this one's got a bunch of sort of variation based on system. And I just wanted to highlight some of the interesting stuff that happened in here. So for this first board, here, North gets to open one no trump, goes pass, and South has a very weak hand with a shortage in diamonds. Now here they chose 2 clubs Stamen, and when partner bid 2 hearts, they just passed it. And at the other table, they just played in one no trump, and one no trump went a couple down. So getting to 2 hearts worked really well. But the main question here is, well, what do you do if partner bids 2 diamonds? How do you do that? Or what if they bid 2 spades? So if they bid 2 spades, they were probably just going to pass it and play in a 4-3 fit and assume that they can, with the singleton diamond, it will be better playing in 2 spades in the 4-3 rather than in one no trump. 2 diamonds is the real challenge, and this is where most partnerships don't have a good bid available. But my suspicion here is Brink and Driver had a way to actually get out to 3 clubs and show a weak hand subsequently. Maybe you could bid 2 hearts showing a weak hand with both majors, and if partner corrects to spades, then bid 3 clubs or something like along those lines. But being able to stamen on this hand got a healthy pickup for Switzerland. The next board I wanted to talk about, board number 8. This is pretty interesting. East-West opened 2 clubs, which was a precision style 2 clubs, which showed sort of 11 to 15 and 5 or 6 clubs. If they've got 5 clubs, they'll have a major. And now West said, do you have a major? And East said, I don't have a major. So they know that they have a 6-card club suit. And like the previous round, if you can imagine a source of tricks in partner's hand, maybe you can make a cheeky 3 no trumps. So here, if partner's got 6 clubs, you might be able to get 6 club tricks and 2 hearts, and partner has an opening hand. So if they have another card, 3 no trumps might roll home. So they try a pushy 3 no trumps, and that's just what you've got. You've got 6 club tricks, you got the ace king of hearts, and you'll either get the king of diamonds or the top spade. Now, the auction at the other table was particularly interesting, which here it went pass, and playing standard, East opened one no trump. So 15 to 17 could be a good 14. Now, because they're not vulnerable and because their partner's a passed hand, they tried to make life really awkward for North-South. And they had a good escape route, which was when partner bids 2 clubs Stamen, they know that they're not going anywhere. They just elected to pass. Now, it did happen that they missed a 3 no trump contract, but I thought this was a really creative way to play and could win a lot of ways and make life really difficult for North-South if the South player had like a really strong hand that wants to try and get to a game contract. So here, South, they were happy just to let them go, but I thought this was a cool technique that they could do. Now, it's not something that you would try when you're vulnerable. It's not something that you'd try if partner wasn't a passed hand, but a nice little cheeky bid. Didn't pan out this time, and another pickup to Switzerland. The next board that I wanted to talk about is here. Driver opened one no trump, and here again, vulnerability. North-South changed their one no trump opening based on vulnerability. And first seat, not vulnerable versus vulnerable, they play a mini no trump. And this shows 9 to 12 points. And it just makes life really difficult for East-West to try and come in and work out what to do. So here it went pass, and South with one of the best hands at the table passed. And here, West has a 5-5 shape. They don't want to let their opponents play in one no trump. They tried to bid 2 spades. But here the main issue comes with East not knowing how strong their partner actually is. There's lots of points available. West could have quite a decent hand with sort of 12, 13, 14 points. Or they could have a hand like this. East opted to jump to 3-no trumps, trying to play game, and South, knowing that East-West don't have the points to play 3-no trumps, doubled, and West did well to run out to 4 diamonds, which North-South weren't able to double. 4 diamonds can get out for down 1, but here they went down 3. So here went club, club, and another club. They roughed in high, and now they have to guess where the queen of diamonds is. They lead the jack of diamonds, and that loses to the queen, and the process repeats. And at this stage, they then play a heart. They get the hearts right, but the damage is already done here, so they win a spade. A trump is drawn. They draw a trump, and they get the jack of hearts and 7 tricks. So here's the full scorecard. Switzerland had a handy win over Israel, winning by 23, but some really interesting ones on how various systems can work and what you can try or not try, what information you can do, which can actually generate swings. Most of the swings in that actually went in favor of Switzerland. It happens, but I really like some of the creative play. Now we'll look at the results, but before we do, I got one special treat for you. So let's take a look at this hand. So here is a board from the seniors, and I just wanted to highlight this because I just recently found out that McCree is actually the former president of Argentina and is here representing where it matters most, at the bridge table. So I wanted to highlight a hand from this. Now, I went 1 club, pass, he chose to pass, and I went double, and I went pass, pass. And I have a firm belief that when the opponents double you at the 1 level, they know what's going on. You should trust them, and you should run. So here he chose to redouble, which was just for rescue, saying, hey, partner, you choose something. And partner, unfortunately, chose spades, and they got doubled there. So I reckon this is a really solid decision, but one that didn't pan out at all. I would have made the exact same choices, but they ended up in a 3-3 spade fit rather than the club fit that was actually breaking 5-0. So unfortunately, I reckon good decision that panned out poorly, but I just wanted to highlight that we've got a former president playing in the seniors tournament here. So next, let's look over the results from today's sessions. So this was the results at the start of the day in the Bermuda Bowl. And then let's look at where we've ended up. So here, Netherlands is in first place with 194. Also, Switzerland in second and USA 2/3. So let's look over the results from this final match to see who's done well. Now, I actually think this round was a round full of upsets. So UAE got their 2nd win. So they got another win over New Zealand, just a small win, but well done to them. Guadeloupe had a big win over Italy. And also Singapore had a good win over Sweden. So I think there are 3 very notable upsets here in this round. Also, I wanted to note which teams have had really good days today. So I think the UAE has had their best day in a long time. The Netherlands had a sensational day. And also Australia went from about 15th up to 8th. So really strong day for Australia there. Let's look at the other fields. So in the Venice Cup, Poland is still dominating here, keeping up their good form. Rounding out the top 3 is Denmark in 2nd and England 3rd. And then we've got Sweden, Turkey, Italy, Canada, and Norway. In the seniors, the Diorsi Trophy, we've got USA in 1st, Denmark in 2nd, and Poland 3rd. Poland was leading at the start of the day. They're still doing quite well, but they've been pipped. Rounding out the top 8 is England, India, France, Germany, and Turkey. And in the Wuhan Cup, the mixed teams, we've got France in 1st, USA 1 in 2nd, Italy in 3rd, and then Belgium, Romania, Poland, Germany, and Turkey. So lots of exciting stuff. We've crossed the halfway mark. Lots more to come. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you tomorrow.